Okay, can you hear me? Dengar tak?
Boleh, Miss.
Alright. So for today, we will discuss on the last topic 5. Okay, tutorial on the last topic. So next week, so for tomorrow, you just finish your apa nama itu project. Okay, mana yang belum siap lagi, you just settlekan je you punya project, and then for next week, on Wednesday, kita buat revision. Revision from topic 1 until topic 5. Okay, and then next Thursday, kita buat the last test, the last assessment for test. So for test, cover for topic 4 and 5 only. Okay, so untuk test next week hanya topic 4 and 5. Okay, since untuk yang 1, 2, 3 kita dah cover dekat assignment and also quiz. So untuk next week, test untuk cover topic 4 and 5 only. Okay, so Okay, so for the first questions, for December 2019, for question 6. So in these questions, the question already give you a data and also a scatter diagram on the variable for number of months. Kenapa?
Miss, ada orang nak masuk, tak dapat bagi masuk.
Tak dapat masuk? Sekejap. Tak ada pun yang request. Sekejap. I rasa I ada problem lah nak record. Nanti Aina, kalau you terkeluar, you masuk balik sebab I tak boleh nak record. Alright. So untuk okay. So untuk question 6 December 2019. Okay, so you have a data on number of month own MP3 and also number of things stored on the MP3. So as I said before, okay, tak semestinya on the left or on the top of the table is your X and then this is your Y. You need to double check whether with your scatter diagram or with your Minitab output. Okay, kena check lah. So based on the scatter diagram, so you know that this is your X, okay, this is your Y. Okay, so you know that number of months the user has on the MP3 is your X. So automatically we know that we confirm that this is your X and this is your Y. Okay, and then kalau tak ada scatter diagram, you can check your independent variable and dependent variable based on the coefficient table. So this is your X, this is your Y. Okay, so kadang-kadang ada diberi Y, kadang-kadang hanya bagi X sahaja. Refer to the questions. Okay. So kalau you tengok when you run your SPSS software, so bila you run your data, so memang dia akan jelah dependent variable dia apa dia. Okay. So itu adalah untuk how to differentiate between your independent and dependent variable. Okay, so that is the first step. You need to identify which one is your X, which one is your Y. Okay, and then the question asks you, okay, based on the scatter plot, describe the relationship between the numbers of month owned MP3 and number of songs stored in the MP3. So based on the scatter plot, so as you know that for scatter diagram, we can only look on the direction, okay, whether there is a positive, negative or no relationship. Okay, so in this case, based on the scatter plot, we say that as your number of X increase, your number of Y is also increase. So kita nampak the graph dia menaik. Okay, so when the question asks you what is the relationship based on the scatter plot, so we say that there is a positive linear relationship between number of song on number of month on MP3 and number of things stored on MP3. So that is how to answer the first question. Okay, so kita just kata there is a positive linear relationship. Okay, positive linear relationship between the number of month owned MP3 and the number of songs stored in the MP3. Kita kata positive linear, okay, relationship between your X and Y. So that is for the first questions. And then for the second question, calculate the correlation coefficient value, hence explain its meaning. So in this case, okay, the question asks you on the correlation coefficient, you need to find the value for your R, okay, R kecil, okay. So how to find the value, okay, so you know that the formula for correlation coefficient is this one, okay. So you need to find all this value, okay, kena cari semua value ni. So how to find the value, you can use your calculator, okay, to find the value. So once you already have the value for summation of x, summation of x square, summation of xy, summation of y square, okay, you dah ada semua tu, you just substitute into the formula. Okay, so whether you want to calculate satu-satu, okay, you nak kira satu-satu dulu pun boleh. Okay, ataupun kalau you tak nak kira satu-satu, you just substitute into the formula and then nanti you just kira lah dekat dalam formula, boleh. Okay, either one. So nanti you will get the formula, the value for your sum square for your xy is 40286.6, and then for your SSXX, you will get the value is 5 Okay, so this is the value for your summation of xs, and the last one for yy. So this is your summation of y square, and then this is your summation of y square over 15. Okay, so nanti akan dapat the value is 875583.6. Okay, so this is the value, and then you know that to find the value for your r, the formula is ssxy divided by s square root of ssxx times with ssyy. Okay, so you just substitute the value since you already have the value for. Okay, and then barulah you kira. So don't forget to square root this value. So nanti you akan dapat the value is 0.9859. Okay, so this is your correlation coefficient value. Okay, so kalau you tak sure, you can check with your calculator. You tekan shift 2, you tekan apa nama itu, 3. Okay, you tekan yang ada A, B and R, so you pilih yang R lah, right? So this is the value for your correlation coefficient. So the question asks you to calculate and also to explain, okay, the meaning. So since you already have the value, so the value is positive, and then the strength, since the value is between 0.7 to 1, so you know that the strength is strong. So we said that there is a strong positive linear relationship between number of month owned MP3 and number of songs stored in the MP3. So for the first questions, you only say that there is a positive linear relationship. But for B, we say that there is a strong positive linear relationship between X and Y. Okay, so if you answer for the first question, you say that there is a strong positive linear relationship between your x and y, so your answer should will be wrong lah. Okay, since you know that for scatter plot there is no strength, tak ada strength. So bila you dah letak ada strength kat situ, so dia dah salah interpretation. Okay, so make sure you just write positive, negative ataupun no sahaja for scatter plot. But to interpret your correlation coefficient value untuk R kecil ni, you need to have strength and also the direction. So we said that there is a strong positive linear relationship between the number of month owned MP3 and the number of songs stored in the MP3. So that is how to answer for B. Okay, so you need to calculate. So kalau you tak nak tunjuk macam ni, okay, you can just substitute the value into formula. So, maksudnya just masukkan je R is equal to 10806 minus 2244539 over 15 over, so you just salin and then you just tulis je lah value dekat sini. Okay, so nanti akan dapat sama je. Okay, so you akan dapat nilai yang sama. So whether you want to calculate the value tu, kira satu-satu and then substitute into the formula, ataupun you just terus the substitute into the formula and then you just kira je lah this one berapa nilai dia. Okay, so that is how to calculate the value for correlation coefficient. And then for C, how many percent of the variation in number of songs stored in MP3 is explained by the variation in number of month on MP3? So you know that this is the questions on the coefficient of determination. Okay, since the question asks you how many percent of the variation. So you need to find first the value for your coefficient of determination. So how to find the value? So you need to square the value of your correlation coefficient. You need to square this value. Okay, so nanti you will get the value, squarekan, so nanti you akan dapat the value is 0.9720. So make sure you write your coefficient of determination in decimal. Okay, buat dalam decimal, and then barulah you interpret. So how to interpret? So just apa nama itu? Just follow the general interpretation and then just tukar the value follow the questions. Okay, so in this case, okay, the value given is 0.9720. So we say that 97.20% of the total variation in Y. So in this case, our Y is number of songs stored. So kita kata 97.20% of the total variation in the number of songs stored on the MP3 is explained by your X is the variation in the number of month the user has on the MP3, and then the balance, so you just minus 100 minus 97.20, so you akan dapat 2.807, 2.80% is explained by other variable. Okay, so that is how to answer for question C. Okay, so yang ni kita tahu this is the question for coefficient of determination, since dia tanya how many percent of the variation in your Y. Okay, and for D, name the statistic used in C. Okay, so statistic used, so dia nak tanya nama apa untuk kita nak kira tu. So we said that coefficient of determination. Okay, just hanya itu je lah. Okay. And then for E, based on the given output, write the complete estimated regression equation. Hence, interpret the slope in the context of the problem. So, dia ada dua benda. The first one, you need to write your apa namanya tu, estimated regression equation, and then the second one, you need to interpret the slope. Okay, so ada dua benda lah kat situ. So, first you need to write, and then another one you need to interpret your slope. So, how to write your estimated regression equation? So since you already have the minuted output, so you already have the value for your A and also your B. Okay, so make sure you ambil yang dekat ni. Okay, column yang ini. Okay, and then just substitute the value. And then don't forget to change your X and also your Y. Okay, just substitute what is your X and also your Y. So kalau you malas nak salin, you just cakap where Y is equal to number of songs stored on MP3, and then your X is number of month the user has on MP3. Okay, so make sure you write your equation and then you let what is your Y, what is your X. Or you can also substitute into the equation. So number of songs stored in the MP3 is equal to negative 12.887 plus 21.126, and then your X is number of month the user has on the MP3. Boleh juga. Okay, so kalau you malas, you just let what is your X, what is your Y. And the second one is the question asks you to interpret on the slope. So sama juga, you just tengok based on the apa nama itu, general interpretation, just change the value into follow the question. Okay, so dalam case yang ini, since your slope is 21.126, so we say that every 1 unit, so your X is the number of month user has on the MP3, so every 1 month increase in the number of month the user has on the MP3, so the number of songs stored on MP3 will increase. Why increase? Since your B is positive. Okay, so will increase by 21.126 songs. So itu adalah unit untuk berapa banyak song yang dia stored on the MP3. So for your slope, no need to apa nama itu, round off the value. Okay, just follow how many decimal places ada. So kalau contohnya yang ini you ada 21.126, so you just write 21.126 songs. Okay, so that is how to answer for question E. And then the last one for F, the question asks you to predict the number of songs stored in the MP3 if the number of month owned by MP3 is 37. So if your X is 37, so your Y should be, so just substitute the value into the equation. Okay, so nanti you will get your Y is equal to the 768.775, and then don't forget the unit. Okay, so this is how to answer for question December 2019. Okay, so any question regarding these questions? Boleh? Boleh tak?
Boleh.
Boleh. Okay, so kalau tak ada any question, so we look on the next one. Okay, on June 2019. So in this question, the question only give you a data and also the minuted output for the coefficient table. So you have a data on the length of the advertisement, A on the TV, and also the sales in 100 of RM. So make sure when the questions involve the money, okay, melibatkan duit, so make sure you check the unit betul-betul. So dalam kes ni dia melibatkan in hundred. Okay, so benda ni penting bila you nak interpret, bila you nak buat interpretation. Okay, so dia dah bagi dah dekat you, so you know that your X is the length of the advertisement, so this is your X, and then this should be your Y, and then this is the value for your intercept and also the slope. Okay, and then the equation already give you the value for your R, okay, correlation coefficient. So yang lain ni tak ada apa. So for the first question, using the data given, calculate the correlation coefficient between the length of advertisement and also the sales. Explain the value obtained. So the question asks you to calculate the value for correlation coefficient. So since there is a data, so you need to substitute the value into the calculator, and then you dapatkan value summation of x square apa semua ni. Okay, buat macam biasa. So just buat macam ni je lah. Okay, so nanti you check you dapat tak the same value. Okay, so make sure for question A ni you use your calculator. Okay, so since the question asks you to calculate, if the question asks you to show, so kalau show make sure your R tu 0.769. Kalau dia tak suruh show, you can use 3 or 4 decimal places. Okay, and then nanti since you know that the value is this one, so the question asks you to explain the value. Since the value is still, okay, kalau you tengok based on the straight line, dia masih lagi duduk dekat dalam kawasan strong. Okay, the value tu, so kita kata there is a strong positive linear relationship between length of advertisement and also the sales. Okay, so that is how to answer for question A. And then for B, based on the output. So bila question tanya based on the output, make sure you write follow how many decimal places. Okay, contohnya you dah masukkan data tadi, you ambil nilai A dengan B from calculator, contohnya you ambil 4 decimal places. So your least square regression equation akan jadi salah lah, tak tepat. Since question ni dah memang cakap dah based on the output. So you just ambil how many decimal places ada, just ambil je. Kalau dia tulis 2, ambil 2. Kalau dia tulis 3, ambil 3. Okay. So dia suruh write the least square regression equation and then they interpret the value of slope. So macam biasa, just write the equation and then don't forget to let your y and also your x. Okay, so in this case, your y is the sales and the x is the length of advertisement. Okay, and then jangan lupa interpret your slope. Okay, so dia suruh interpret, so kita kata so dekat sini your punya X adalah length of advertisement, so kita kata every 1 second, since the unit is second, so every 1 second increase in the length of advertisement, so your sales will increase, okay, will increase by 1.683, so then forget the unit, in 100 of RM. Okay, so kalau tak nak buat unit macam ni, you just tukar increase by RM168. Okay. So ikut sama ada you nak buat unit di dekat belakang ataupun you terus convert siap-siap, you that time with 100, so you akan dapat the value is 168.30. So kalau you just answer the question, the sales will increase by 1.683 only. Okay, so your interpretation will be wrong lah. Okay, tak betul. Okay, so make sure you write the unit. Okay, tambah-tambah bila melibatkan duit. Okay, so you kena letak dia punya unit dia berapa. Okay, so that is how to answer for question B. And then for the next one, calculate the value of the coefficient of determination. So the question asks you to find your capital R square. So since you already have the value for your correlation coefficient, just square the value. Okay, so nanti you akan dapat the value is 0.5918. So you akan dapat this value. And then question ask you to interpret. So just interpret macam biasa. So kita kata 59.18% of the total variation in sales, your Y, is explained by the variation in the length of advertisement air on the TV, and then while 40.82% is explained by either variable. Okay, you interpret macam biasa je. And then the last one, the question asks you to predict the sales of the company of the length of advertisement is 10 seconds. So kalau dia punya length advertisement is 10 seconds, so what is your sale? So just substitute into this into this equation. So nanti jangan lupa dia punya unit. Okay. So make sure yang ni pun make sure you check the unit. Okay, since this is on second, sini pun second, so you masukkan 10 lah. Okay, tapi kalau dekat sini second, tiba-tiba dekat sini dia bagi 10 minutes, so you kena tukar dulu minutes ni kepada second. Okay, barulah betul nilai yang you masukkan kat sini. Okay. So nanti you akan dapat the value is 24.847. Okay, 100 of Rm. Or Rm 24, okay, 2,484 ringgit 70 sen. Okay. So this is how to answer for question June 2019. Okay. So we look on the next question. So for question December 2018, okay, so in this question, the question gives you the model summary and also the coefficient. Okay, there is no data, okay, in this question. And the monthly salary given in 100, okay, 100. And the working experience is in years, okay. So state the dependent and independent variable. So you need to let what is your x and also your y. Okay, so your independent variable, so kalau nak tahu, this is your independent variable. So you know that working experience is your independent variable and your y is the monthly salary. Okay, so kalau nak selamat, nak memudahkan you for interpret untuk you punya data you, nak mudah, you just tulis je with the unit. So kita kata x kita working experience and then in years and then your y is monthly salary. Then you buat je in 100. Okay. So this is the answer for A. So yang ni you tulis lah independent, dependent. Okay. And then untuk B, state the value of the coefficient of determination. So the question asks you to state. So state ni maksudnya you take the value from the output. Okay. So this is your R, this is your R square, capital R square. And then this is your independent variable, this is your A, this is your B. Okay. So since the value is already there, so you just write the value. Okay, no need to show the calculation since the question asks you to state. Okay, and then interpret the value sesama je, you just cakap 87.8% of the total variation in your Y monthly salary is explained by the variation in the X working experience, and then while dia punya balance tu 12.20% is explained by other variable. Okay, so this is how to answer for B. And then for C, determine the value of your M. So M, you know that this is the value for your correlation coefficient. But in this case, there is no data. You tak ada data macam previous questions. Okay, so you tak boleh nak cari all the values, summation of X, summation of XY, summation of Y. Okay, you tak boleh nak cari. So how to find the value for your correlation coefficient? So you just use this value. Okay, since you know that the value for coefficient of determination is equal to your punya correlation coefficient, you square the value. Okay, so to find the value of M, so how to find the value? So your M is equal to this value. Okay, why there is plus minus? Since you know that for correlation coefficient, there is a direction whether positive or negative. Okay, so you kena tengok lah. So nanti bila you tengok, you square root the value, so you will get the value is 0.937. And then how to check whether the direction is positive or negative? You check with the sign of your slope. Since you know that the relationship between your correlation coefficient and also slope, if your slope is positive, okay, your R is still positive. If your slope is negative, your R is negative. So in this case, since your slope is positive, so we say that since slope is positive, so your M ataupun your punya R ni dia akan jadi 0.937. Okay, so maksudnya the value will be positive lah. And the question asks you to comment on the value. So we said that there is a strong positive linear relationship between working experience and also monthly salary. Okay. So that is how to answer for question C. And then for D, find the regression line for the above study, explain the value of the slope. Okay, sama je. So this is your A, this is your B. So just substitute into the equation, and then don't forget to let your y and x, and then disuruh explain on the value of your slope. So ini you kena hati-hati since you punya apa nama itu unit tu in 100. So kita kata your x is working experience. So kita kata every 1 year increase in working experience, so your monthly salary will increase since your slope is positive by, so this is the value. So nanti increase by, so kalau you nak buat this one, so dia akan jadi unit belakang kena ada lah in 100. Ataupun kalau you tak nak tulis macam ni, you just harapkan je lah. Okay. So this is how to answer for question D. Okay. So itu adalah untuk D. And then the next one, estimate the monthly salary for a teacher with 15 years of experience. So sama je, you just substitute the value into this equation. So just substitute X ni kepada 15. So nanti you akan dapat your Y is 41.38. Okay. So jangan lupa 100 ataupun kalau you tak nak buat macam ni, you just tukar je lah. Okay. 4138. Okay. So make sure unit kena betul. Okay. So untuk iaitu you kena tengok betul-betul lah unit dia. Sama juga dalam kes ni, you kena tengok betul-betul. So 15 years, this one for in years. So okay lah kalau tiba-tiba dekat sini dia buat 12 months, so maksudnya you just masukkan satu je lah dekat you punya X ni, since ni dalam month. Okay, tapi kita punya data ni adalah in years. Okay, you kena hati-hati. So itu adalah untuk Disember 2018. And then for the next one for June 2018, so the question give you a data on ticket price and also passenger per hour. So you have a scatter diagram. Okay, so kalau you tengok as your X increase, your Y is decrease. So kat situ graph you menurun, so you ada negative relationship. And then if you look at the model summary, so as I said before, for your model summary, your R is not positive. You need to check with your slope. So since in this case your slope is negative, so your R dekat sini dia adalah negative 0.8. So if you want to state your correlation coefficient based on the model summary, you need to check the sign with your slope. But if you want to look your correlation coefficient based on the coefficient table, okay, so in dekat dalam sini, you punya R dah ada with sign. Okay, so there is no need to check with your slope. So kalau you tengok on the model summary, you need to check the value with your slope, whether there is positive or negative relationship. Okay, so this is your X, this is your A, this is your B, sama. And then for A, based on the scatter diagram, so kalau you tengok kat sini, your scatter diagram dia menurun. So we say that there is a negative linear relationship, okay, between the ticket price and also the passenger per hour. Okay, so that is for A. So make sure just write the direction. Okay, there is no strength. So kalau you cakap that there is a strong negative linear relationship, so wrong lah. Okay, so for scatter diagram, we can only look on the direction. Okay, and then for B, using SPSS output, write the linear regression equation. So you have your A and B, the value for A and B. So just follow, since the question asks you to using SPSS output, so guna this value lah. Okay. And then don't forget to let your X and also your Y. And then see what does the slope tell you about the ticket price and the passenger per hour. So this is your slope. So kat situ kalau you tengok your slope is negative. So we say that every RM1 ringgit increase in the ticket price, since the ticket price is in RM. So don't forget the unit. Okay. Every apa nama itu RM1 ringgit increase in the ticket price. So your Y, the number of passenger will decrease since your slope is negative. So the number of passenger will decrease by 93.929 passenger per hour. So ingat bila kita dah tulis decrease by, no need to write the negative, tak perlu. Okay, just cakap decrease by 93.929 passenger per hour. Okay, so that is how to answer for your slope, okay, to interpret your slope. And then the next one, state the value of the coefficient of determination, interpret its meaning. So bila state sahaja, you just ambil the value from the output. Okay, so kalau situ ada 3, follow je 3. Okay, and then interpret, so kita kata 80.4% of the total variation in Y. So your Y is number of passenger per hour. Okay, is explained by the variation of your X, ticket price, and another balance dia ada 19.60% is explained by other variable. Okay, macam tu je lah. And the last one, estimate the number of passenger per hour if the train ticket price is 7 ringgit and 90 sen. Okay, just substitute this value into this one. So nanti akan dapat RM, dia suruh estimate the number of passenger. Nanti akan dapat the number of passenger is, okay, passenger per hour. So untuk value ni, just tulis je value tu dalam decimal. Okay, no need to round off. Biar je di dalam decimal. Okay, so that is for question E. Okay, so we look on the next questions. For January 2018, so kat sini you have a monthly advertising cost and monthly income. So in this case, you need to be careful since both variable, okay, ada unit dia. So ini dalam thousand, ni dalam million. Okay, you kena hati-hatilah. But when you substitute the value into the calculator, okay, if the question ask you to show, you just masukkan 150 dengan 20 sahaja. Okay. So dalam case yang ini sama, you need to check which one is your X, which one is your Y. So in this case, your X is advertising cost and your Y is monthly income. So you have your A and B and also your correlation coefficient. Okay, so in this question, for the first one, show that the Pearson correlation coefficient is 0.953 and comment on the value. So you need to substitute the value into the formula. So you kena masukkan lah. Okay, macam biasa. You kena kira you punya summation of X, summation of Y, summation of X square semua tu using this data. Okay, make sure you masukkan advertising cost dulu baru you punya monthly income. Okay, bila you substitute dalam calculator you masukkan X dulu baru Y. Okay, so nanti you akan dapat, so you akan dapatlah nilai yang sama. And then comment on the value since you know that for correlation coefficient you need to explain on the strength and also the direction. So we say that there is a strong positive linear relationship between advertising cost and also monthly income. So that is for A, and then for B, calculate the coefficient of determination since you already have the value for your correlation coefficient. So for coefficient of determination, you just squarekan the value. Okay, you just squarekan saja, and then the data is in decimal. Okay, and then the question asks you to interpret. So kita kata 90.82% of the total variation in Y. So your Y is monthly income. Okay, is explained by the variation of monthly advertising cost, and another 9.18% is explained by other variable. Okay, so itu adalah untuk B. And then C, state the slope and interpret the value in the context of the problem. So state, so soalan ni suruh state and interpret. So there is 2 questions. Okay, so kalau kita tengok the previous questions, the question just say that apa nama itu, what does the slope tell you? So you just interpret, no need to state the slope. Okay, so kalau you state tak ada markah lah, tak ada masalah. But in this question, you need to state and also interpret. So kalau you just interpret the slope without state the value, so there is no mark for state. Okay, tak ada markah lah. So make sure bila soalan macam ni, you just state your slope. Okay, and then you interpret. So untuk slope ni, make sure you hati-hati since you know that the unit for monthly advertising cost is in thousand and monthly income is in million. Okay, so dalam kes ni kita kata every one, so your X is monthly advertising cost. So kita kata every RM 1000 increase in the monthly advertising cost. So your Y, monthly income will increase by, so if you want to write the value, so no, don't forget the unit, RM million. Okay, ataupun kalau tak nak, you tukarlah kepada million ataupun RM122,000. Okay, so this is how to interpret your slope. Ataupun kalau yang dekat sini you tak nak buat RM1000, you just buat every one and then unit je lah RM1000. Increase in the monthly advertising cost. Boleh juga. Okay, sama je. So itu adalah how to answer for question C. And for D, estimate the monthly income in million if the monthly advertising cost is 90,000. So yang ini you kena careful since you know that the data is dalam macam ni. Okay, dia tak convert lagi. So in this case, bila you nak substitute into your equation, so your A is negative 0.221. So bila you nak substitute the value dekat dalam sini, since you know that the data ni dia belum, bukannya 150,000 tu, bukan, dia hanya tulis 150. So dalam apa nama itu, questions ni dia suruh masukkan 90,000. So bila nak masukkan tu, you hanya masukkan 90 saja. Okay, bukannya you masukkan 90,000. So if you substitute 90,000, so jadi wrong lah. Okay, your answer will be wrong. Okay, so dalam kes ni nanti you akan dapat the value is 10.5759. So kalau you nak buat macam ni, don't forget the unit, million, or you convert the value. Okay, so kat sini kalau you masukkan value dia adalah 90,000, so salah lah jawapannya. Okay, so you kena hati-hati. That's why I cakap kalau macam contoh yang tadi, dia minta in 15 years. Okay, so kalau tiba-tiba dia buat 12 month, so you kena tengok lah, kena follow data tu dia guna apa unit dia. Kalau dia guna unit in years, so you kena masukkan years lah. Kalau dia guna month, so sini per month, okay lah. Okay, kalau sini month, sini years, so you kena tukar years tu kepada month. Okay, follow the unit. Okay, itu you kena hati-hati sikit. Okay, so that is for the question January 2018, and then the last one for July 2017. So you have a data, okay, on speed and times. So you have a scatter diagram. Kalau kita tengok kat sini, dia punya apa nama itu, graph tu menurun. Okay, and then you have your model summary, and then your coefficient table. Okay, so macam biasa, this is your R, this is your R besar square, this is your X, A, B and R. So macam biasa, kalau you nak tengok your correlation coefficient from model summary, make sure you check with the slope. Okay, since your slope is negative, so this one is negative. Okay, and then for A, using the data given, show the percent correlation coefficient between mean is 0.974. So you just substitute lah, dapatkan value for your summation of X semua tu, masukkan je value kat sini, since you know that your X is time, okay, typing speed. So this is your X, this is your Y. Dia akan masukkan data, follow lah X dengan Y. Okay, and then for A, dia just suruh you show sahaja, dia tak suruh you interpret. So no need to interpret. Okay, and then B, name the statistic represent in W in the output. So this is the coefficient of determination, and then interpret the value in the context of the problem. So since you do not have the value, so you need to calculate first. Since you know that the formula is this one, your R you squarekan saja. So don't forget the unit must be positive, the value. Okay. Okay, so this the value, this is the value, and then the question asks you to interpret. So we say that 87% of the total variation in your Y. So your Y is the time taken. Okay, your Y is the time. Okay, time. Okay, time taken that it takes the secretary to learn to use a new word processing program is explained by the variation in the typing speed of the secretary. Okay, and then dia punya balance tu by other variable. Okay, and then for C, so C the question asks you to show the value of slope. Okay, so you kena show lah value slope tu. Sorry, interpret the value of slope in the context. So dia suruh you interpret saja, no need to show the slope, okay, just interpret the value. So we said that every 1 minute increase in the typing speed, so the time taken to learn will decrease. Since your B is negative, so kita kata decrease by 0.137 hours. So make sure dia punya unit jangan lupa. Okay. So unit the hours, ini adalah word per minute. And the last one, predict the time it will take if the average secretary who has typing speed of 70 words per minute to learn the word processing program. So just substitute. So this is your A, this is your B. Okay, just masukkan je lah. Nanti akan dapat, this is the answer, 4.496 hours. Okay, so this is for tutorial question for topic 5. Okay, ada any question? Boleh tak?
No, okey je.
Alright.
Okey je.
Okay je. So nanti kalau
Okay, Miss.
so nanti kalau ni you try dulu. So nanti kalau you ada any questions nanti you boleh tanya. Okay. So before we end our class, so saya nak explain balik on the project. Okay. So nanti esok you just apa nama itu, siapkan mana yang belum siap untuk your project. Okay. So sama untuk project you just follow apa nama itu format yang I dah bagi. Okay, just tukar je. Okay, follow the questions. And then untuk apa namanya tu, untuk this case untuk inferential analysis ni you pilih je lah. Kalau you buat independent sample test, so just buat independent sample test, and then 3.22 ni your simple linear regression. Okay, so kalau you buat analysis of variance, so 3.2.1 you buat analysis of variance, and then untuk 3.2.3 you buat 3.22 you buat simple linear regression. So you tak perlu buat tiga-tiga, pilih salah satu sahaja daripada dua ni. Okay. And then untuk you punya acknowledgement you just tulis je lah apa-apa. Okay, and then for introduction, this one you just cerita je lah. Okay, kenapa. So kalau ni you boleh refer juga dekat yang ini. Okay, so you boleh refer juga. Okay, background of study tu kena ada apa. Okay, you boleh refer ini dengan yang ini. Tapi format just follow je lah yang saya dah bagi. So macam saya kata untuk background of the study, no need to do more than 1 pages. Okay, just buat 1 page pun dah cukup. Okay, so you just cerita je kenapa you pilih study tu, you punya variable apa semua tu. And then for the second subtopic for chapter 1, objective of the study, so sama. So for the first objective, semua group akan sama. Okay, to describe the demographic profile of the respondent. And then for the second one, to study the difference, follow lah you punya study apa dia, between, so pilih whether you want to use independent sample test, so you will check with the gender. But if you want to compare with the faculty, so kita guna faculty lah kalau nak guna ANOVA. So in case kalau kita tahu, kalau contohnya gender, contohnya you punya sample size untuk male and female. Contohnya you ada dua-dua tu lebih daripada 30. Contohnya you ada 35 and then you ada apa nama itu 40 contohnya. So you know that if the case is apa nama itu more than 30 or equal to 30 for both population, so you need to use Z calculated for unknown. Okay, so maksudnya you tak perlu nak test whether there is equal or unequal variance. So kalau you mana group yang you punya sample untuk male dengan female tu memang dua-dua more than ni, so you buat untuk second objective ni you just use faculty. Maksudnya you guna ANOVA, you tak perlu guna independent sample test. Okay, sebab nanti kalau you guna Z calculated, so maksudnya you tak boleh nak run lah you punya SPSS data tu, you kira manually je. So kalau you nak run you punya SPSS data, you just guna untuk faculty. Tak perlulah buat untuk gender. Okay, so you tahu case ni bila dua-dua nilai N tu adalah more than apa nama itu 30, so the case tu dah jadi Z calculated. So untuk Z calculated dia tak ada equal ke unequal. You tak perlu nak test for living test. Okay, so you just guna kira manually je lah. So maksudnya you tak perlu guna SPSS output. So kalau you nak guna SPSS output, so you just buat untuk ANOVA. Okay, so nanti sebab nanti tak cantik lah pula report you. Okay, tak ada SPSS output untuk gender. So yang mana group yang dua-dua value dia memang more than 30, so you guna untuk faculty lah. Sebab kalau faculty ni dia tak kisah. Okay, dia tak ada apa nama itu, sample size tu kena large ke small ke, tak ada. Okay. So itu adalah untuk the second objective, and then the third one to study the best factor that influence the study. Ikutlah study punya apa. Okay, so itu adalah untuk objektif. So you just buat maximum 3 objektif. Okay, jangan buat sampai 4 ke 5, tak perlu. Okay, so untuk yang second objektif tu follow whether you want to test on your gender ataupun faculty. Nak buat independent sample test ataupun nak guna ANOVA. Okay, benda yang sama je nanti. So that is for your objective. And then for your methodology, okay, so untuk research ni tulislah study on apa, you punya tajuk. And then for element unit, so siapa yang involved dekat you punya study. So kalau you buat students in your ITM, so you just cakap students. Okay, itu je lah. Okay, and then your population, so follow lah kalau you buat in the FSKM, so you cakap all the students in FSKM. Kalau you based on the UITM, so all the students in UITM Shah Alam macam tu. Okay, and then for your sample, so sample ni how many respondents yang you ambil untuk research tu. So kalau you ada yang isi Google Form hari tu, contohnya ada dalam 70 orang, so you cakap je lah 70 selected students of SFKM macam tu. Okay, ataupun you kata 70 students of UiTM Shah Alam macam tu. Okay, so tapi kena bagi tahu lah 70 selected student. Okay, so since this is your sample. Okay. And then for sampling technique, so macam saya kata, semua group akan guna convenient sampling technique. Since you tak boleh nak guna sama ada stratify ataupun cluster ataupun simple random, okay, ataupun systematic random sampling. Since kalau you nak guna untuk probability sampling technique, you kena ada you kena ada sampling frame. You kena ada, contohnya nak buat untuk FSKM, you kena ada data untuk semua orang dekat dalam FSKM. And then once you dah ada email or phone number untuk semua orang, contohnya you ada 1,500. Sikit sangat. Contohnya you ada 5,000 students untuk FSKM. So you dah ada all the list untuk 5,000 ni, barulah you pilih daripada 5,000 ni you nak berapa orang. Contohnya nak 50 orang, so you akan pilih 50 orang daripada 5,000 ni. Tapi you dah kena ada senarai semua ni. Okay, you ada sampling frame untuk you punya study. Tapi dalam kes ni you memang tak boleh nak dapat pun sampling frame ni. Okay, benda pertama ni memang you tak boleh nak dapat. That's why kita just guna convenient sampling technique. Okay, so untuk convenient sampling technique ni dia tak perlu ada sampling frame. You bagilah kat siapa-siapa you nak bagi. Asalkan orang tu memang students FSKM. Okay, janganlah you buat untuk FSKM you bagi ke adik you. Itu dah jadi lain lah pula. Okay, so itu adalah untuk sampling technique. Okay, and then untuk data collection method, you just guna questionnaire and you just cerita je lah. And then sources of data, of course primary data since you use questionnaire. Okay, and then untuk description of the variable, you just cerita je in part A, your demographic profile. Okay, so ini kalau age apa dia punya skill dia, faculty apa. And then for B, for the second part, so follow each factor. Okay, so macam saya kata, this one you tukar kepada ordinal. Okay, and then dia punya dia punya ni tak ada. Okay, so dia adalah ordinal. Okay, so just tukar ordinal. Okay, since kalau you tengok dekat so yang ini dia bukan kuantitatif lah, dia kualitatif. Sebab apa? Sebab kalau you tengok untuk the second part tu you ada daripada strongly disagree, neutral. So this is in ordinal dalam bentuk categorical. That's why dekat sini dia adalah kualitatif. Okay, kualitatif. And then this one ordinal. Okay, so nanti you betulkan. Okay, sebab you punya tu you pilih based on this one. Strongly disagree, neutral. And then agree, strongly agree. Ataupun strongly dissatisfied until strongly satisfied. Okay, so benda ni dalam bentuk ordinal. Mesti follow dia punya order. Okay, so dia adalah ordinal and then your data is in kualitatif. Okay, dalam bentuk categorical. Okay, so nanti ni you betulkan. Okay, itu adalah untuk you punya data. And then untuk method of analysis, so just follow je. Okay, so age ni ikutlah, you nak guna histogram ke, nak guna stem and leaf plot ke, box and whisker ke, follow. Okay, and then untuk second objective pilih je salah satu. Okay, and then untuk third objective, so you mention je lah you punya study you mean apa, and then you punya first factor apa dia, mean apa, mean second factor, mean third factor, macam tu. Okay, so ini adalah untuk method of analysis, and then untuk you punya finding. Okay, so for finding, so untuk descriptive analysis you just cerita je lah objektif you apa benda. Okay, and then untuk the first variable, so untuk gender, so you kena ada, so untuk table yang ini macam saya kata, you just guna table yang ini saja, tak perlu nak masukkan table yang ni yang daripada you punya SPSS output tu. Okay, so you tak perlu nak masukkan this one lah. Okay, you just masukkan table ini sahaja, follow je. Cuma nilai tu you ambil nilai tu daripada SPSS output. So nilai frekuensi total ni yang ambil lah daripada you punya SPSS output, berapa nilai dia. And then measure of central tendency, so you punya mode, median dengan mean. Cuma macam saya kata untuk categorical, you tak boleh nak cerita on median and also mean. Okay, so sebab kalau you cerita nanti you kata on average, is 1.7. So apa maksud 1.7 memang tak boleh nak cerita. Okay, untuk categorical you hanya boleh cerita on the mode. So kita boleh tahu majority dia adalah 2. So 2 ni adalah female. So majority of the respondent is female. Okay, so itu adalah untuk ni, and then you just cerita je lah ada berapa ramai male, ada berapa ramai female. Okay, apa yang you belajar dekat topik tu. Okay, you just interpret apa yang boleh interpret. Okay, so itu adalah untuk you punya untuk gender contohnya. Okay, so make sure you ada graph and then ada interpretation. Okay, so untuk the second one, untuk age, so semua orang memang buat isi tempat kosong, so you akan ada banyak lah you punya frekuensi. Okay, so untuk age, since the data is numerical, so you boleh cerita semua. You boleh cerita mode, median, mean. Okay, buat seperti yang kita dah belajar lah. Nak mode, majority of median 50% more, 50% less. Mean, on average. Okay, so follow apa yang you dah belajar. And then you boleh cerita pasal dia punya skewness. Okay, you boleh cerita pasal ada outlier ke tak ada outlier. So apa yang you nampak based on the histogram. Okay, tak kisahlah apa-apa you boleh cerita. And then the next one for faculty, so since tadi you dah guna pie chart, so yang ini gunalah pula you gunalah pula bar chart, so nampaklah variety tu. Okay, so bila untuk untuk faculty ataupun program, tak kisahlah apa-apa. Okay, and then sama juga you buat table ni, and then you ada table untuk you punya central tendency, cuma since dia adalah data dia adalah categorical, so you hanya boleh cerita mode je lah. Majority dia siapa you punya respondent, daripada mana. Okay, macam tu. So you cerita macam biasa, frekuensi dia ada berapa orang, and then majority siapa. Okay, so itu adalah untuk the first objective. Okay, you explain you punya descriptive. Okay, cerita je descriptive. So you know that for descriptive, apa yang kita nampak. So apa yang you nampak daripada table, frequency table, apa yang you nampak daripada your graph. So you just explain je apa yang you nampak. Okay, so itu adalah untuk part descriptive analysis. And then for inferential analysis, so follow untuk second objective, you guna independent sample test or you guna ANOVA. So if you use independent sample test, so macam biasa you just buat table yang baru. So saya tak nak you copy table yang ini. Okay, so you just so saya tak nak you copy yang inilah. So you buat table baru. Okay, and then you substitute the value into the table. You ada group statistic and also independent sample test punya table. And then you need to test for the living test. Since you know that your n, so macam saya kata, kalau n you dua-dua ataupun salah satu less than 30, contohnya sini you dapat 40, sini you dapat 15. So boleh guna independent sample t-test. Kalau kat sini 40, kat sini 50, tak boleh lah sebab dua-dua large. Okay, so kalau salah satu large saja boleh. Okay, so kalau you nak guna independent sample test, kena macam tu lah. Okay, you test for the living test, sama ada equal or unequal variance. So nanti you akan dapat equal ke unequal. So untuk population mean, so you akan refer lah case dia yang mana satu. Okay, so ini adalah untuk independent sample test. And then kalau you use ANOVA, so kalau you use ANOVA, macam biasa you buat table baru, and then you just follow. So kalau kita tahu, kalau kita construct ANOVA table, so kat sini you tukar lah. Sini jadi faculty, sini jadi error. Sebab kalau daripada daripada SPSS output, sini dia akan tulis between group, sini within group. So bila you tulis dekat you punya report, you tukar lah program error. Okay, and then the value. And then kalau you ada 4 program, so you let lah 1, 2, 3. Ataupun kalau you tak nak let, you buat lah new business is equal to new account is equal to new education, tulis. Okay. And then at least one pair treatment means is not equal ataupun are differ macam tu. Okay. And then ambil nilai p-value, compare macam biasa. So itulah untuk ANOVA. And then the last one for simple linear regression. So untuk simple linear regression, so macam yang you tahu, you ada apa nama itu, banyak factor, you ada more than 2 factor. So you need to apa namanya itu, run your dependent variable, your y with your x. Okay, the first factor, the second factor, you kena run satu-satu lah. That's why dekat sini you akan ada banyak table. Okay, so this is the first factor, this is the second factor. If you have 3 factors, so this is the third factor. Okay, so nanti bila you run, you akan ada data yang macam ni. Okay, you akan ada banyak macam ni. Okay, tapi saya nak bila you masukkan dekat you punya report tu, you hanya ambil you punya coefficient sahaja. Okay, you hanya ambil you punya coefficient table, tapi you punya nilai correlation coefficient and also coefficient of determination, you tulis dekat bawah coefficient table. Okay, so kalau you ada 4 factor, you buatlah 4 factor. Kalau you ada 3 factor, buat 3 factor. So kalau you nak apa nama itu, nak buat yang scatter plot tu, you nak tengok on the relationship between scatter plot tu, you buat dulu table ni for each factor. Nanti yang untuk scatter diagram tu, you hanya buat untuk the best sahaja, the best factor sahaja. So macam mana nak tahu best factor? So you compare value slope untuk setiap satu factor tu, you cari which one yang ada highest value. So itulah you punya best factor. So contohnya kalau you nak check apa nama itu, the factor yang affect the satisfaction of apa nama itu library contohnya. So you ada 3 factor, so nanti you tengok mana satu yang tinggi. So maksudnya dia punya satisfaction tu apa nama itu, the best factor yang affect the mean satisfaction tu based on that factor lah. Okay. So itu adalah untuk B. So once you dah tahu contohnya kat sini you dapat service. Maksudnya the best factor is based on the service. Okay. So bila you dah tahu mean service, so barulah you cerita semua. Okay, you ceritalah dia punya equation line dia. Ambil nilai A, ambil nilai B, ataupun kalau you nak buat scatter diagram tu, you tunjuklah scatter diagram untuk mean sahaja, mean service sahaja. And then dia punya equation tu, equation untuk mean service sahaja. Since kalau you buat untuk semua factor, contohnya you ada 4 factor, you buat scatter diagram untuk 4 factor and then you interpret you buat the equation line untuk the first factor, you interpret dia punya slope, dia punya intercept. Lepas tu the second factor you buat benda yang sama. So maksudnya nanti banyak padahal bendanya sama je. Okay, sebab tu you buat dulu coefficient table ni and then you check the best factor sahaja yang you interpret semua. Yang you nak buat scatter diagram, you buatlah scatter diagram untuk the best factor. Okay, you nak interpret untuk apa namanya tu dia punya D-square equation, you hanya interpret untuk the best factor saja. Sebab nanti kalau ni semua sama je bendanya. Okay, berbeza dari segi value saja. So yang tu je lah. And then apa namanya tu, state the value of R. So interpret value R yang you dah dapat tu and then bagi tahu berapa value dia punya coefficient of determination and then interpret the value. Okay. So and then don't forget to write your reference. Okay, and then your appendix. So dalam appendix, the first one yang I nak, you letak you punya questionnaire. Okay, so kalau you punya questionnaire dalam Google Form, so you just apa nama itu, kalau yang mana tak ada buat, memang terus buat dalam Google Form, so you just screenshot lah. Okay, screenshot je, tak perlu nak type balik. And then the second one is your SPSS output on the descriptive statistic. You just masukkan semua. So untuk diagram you, pie chart apa semua tak perlu ada. Okay, you just letak dekat depan you punya written report. And then the third one is on the inferential statistic. So you letak je lah apa yang ada. Okay. So yang untuk inferential statistik untuk simple linear regression, so you masukkanlah untuk semua factor. This is the first factor and then the second factor, okay, and then the fourth factor, so contohnya ada. Okay, so itu sahaja. Right, so ada any questions tak untuk project?
Miss nak tanya.
Aha.
So maknanya kan scatter diagram tu memang wajib adalah untuk yang the best factor.
Kalau tak nak buat pun tak apa, tak kisah pun.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you Miss, nak tahu tu je.
Alright. Lagi nak tanya? Okay, so kalau tak ada any question, so macam biasa esok, macam saya kata esok saya tak buat kelas. So you just siapkan je lah you punya project, report project mana yang belum siap. Okay, and then untuk next week, hari Rabu, kita discuss, kita buat revision sikit. And then hari Khamis, kita buat test. And then kita finish lah kita punya semester untuk SEM ni. And then you all dah tahu tak tarikh untuk final?
Ada draft je.
Okay.
Kalau yang setakat yang tarikh yang saya dapat, tapi saya pun tak pasti dah confirm ke belum, 6 hari bulan 8. Sama tak dengan you all dapat?
Sama.
So you all pun tak tahu. Sama. Alright. So kalau tengok memang sebulan lagi, lama lagi kan. Okay. So nanti tak apa, nanti tengoklah kalau macam saya rajin nanti before final tu saya buatlah kelas revision. Okay, supaya you ingat balik kalau rajin lah. Nanti apa-apa nanti saya akan update dalam group. Okay? Alright. So kalau tak ada any questions, thank you for today. So see you next week.
Thank you banyak. Stay safe,
Alright.
Miss. Thank you banyak-banyak.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you Miss.
Alright.
Thank you, Miss.
Okay.
Makan rem ke duit?